Hello and welcome to Have a Chat. We're so happy you turned into our weekly show. I'm your host for this week, Judy Loche. I'm joined by my dazzling and very bright and always on the ball co-host, Veronique Arsenault. Hi, Vero.
Now you're just making stuff up.
I'm not. You're one person that I say always is tired, but never acts or shows it. So you take that and say, thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy. I've learned from the best though. I know what it's like for you as well and your schedule, and you're always running and you're always doing something for somebody, and you never show that you're tired one bit, but I know that there are some exhausted days for sure.
Yeah. Lately, there's been quite a few of them. So everyone has their little issues they have to deal with in life and things to go through and sadnesses and family, friend losses and all of that. And I've been there lately and it's been hard. So trying to keep it all together. But let's turn to your quote because you have the quote for the week.
I do, and it's by Reese Witherspoon actually, and I really like her.
Oh,
She's a powerful businesswoman, and she's of course an actress, but she's really taken all she has in her life and made the most of it, and I find it
yes.
fascinating. But anyway, and I
Yeah.
think when I looked at this quote, I thought a lot about this year, and so it spoke to me. But anyway, it says every day is not a success. Every year is not a success. You have to celebrate the good.
Right. Right on, Reese. She thought about that, and it's a pretty big statement because it's actually what we should think about more often. And that we
Mhm.
do think that on every given day it always should be a pretty amazing one. But that's not reality. And if we are parents or know of young people especially that think that life's going to be a bed of roses, it's not. It's taken me most of my 50 plus years to realize that life and death is a very normal process. Whereas I was young, I thought, oh my gosh, life's going to go on forever and ever for everybody I love. That's not the case. And I realized too that some days I'm a rock star and some days I'm a dud. And I tell my kids like they might have something go wrong or complain about something which is wrong. It could be just a flat tire, it could be something bummy news they get about something that didn't happen. But you know what? We teach them as adults to roll with it, that they have to deal with it, and how to be resilient to such downfalls because we're all going to face them. But I'm getting tougher with age. I really am. I celebrate my joys every single day, and I also celebrate my losses because it's a part of living.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I have gotten tougher as I've gotten older myself. I find, this year I am quite confident in saying that it was not what anyone had planned. I
Nope.
I had I had a lot that I had planned to do this year, a lot of places I had planned to go, people I had planned to see. None of that has happened. And to be honest, I mean, for the most part, I haven't left the house very much, which absolutely was not in the plan for this year. But you know what? It's been a tough year, but it hasn't been. I don't think I could say that it's the worst year of my life, or
No.
there have been real moments where I could celebrate this year, and some great things that have happened, and some great moments with my family and friends, and so I'm kind of hanging on to those things, and so no,
Yes.
it hasn't been a good year for sure, but
No.
I've had lots of wonderful little moments that I wouldn't have had it not been this year.
Right. And just I mean, we're into November now, and I think that we have to encourage our viewers as we have to self-talk ourselves into realizing that it is coming on to darker days and snow will be falling. We had a little bit last week actually, which didn't last, but it was like, oh my gosh, what's that white stuff falling from the sky? Is it really what I think it is? And it
Gross.
was. but
Gross.
but it's reality. We live in Canada, and we live in a region that has all four seasons. So that's the beautiful part of it. We have to take that chunk of winter, which is not so fun for all of us. Some people love it. I don't. And we have to embrace and celebrate the prettiness of the white snow, I guess, and the cozy winter nights, and try to, like you said, focus on successfully good days, whether it's snuggled up with a hot chocolate and your family by your side, all alive and well, or go to the other aspect of it, which is negative, and we can all tend to do that too. But how are you feeling about winter, Veronique? I know, like you just said, with COVID, it's going to be an unusual winter because at least last winter we could travel, right? And I did. I've
Mhm,
always traveled with my
mhm.
family in the winter, and this year it's not going to happen. I might get to Halifax to see my son very soon. My husband and Jance and I go visit Evan, but that's going to be it for a while.
Yeah, and I'm feeling a bit the same. I we had plans to go to Banff for Christmas this year. Um, that's obviously not going to happen at this point. But I don't love winter. I don't love winter.
Oh,
I try not to complain that much because, of course, I do realize that we live in northern New Brunswick and it's part of life here. And it's one of those things that you have to take with all the other great things that we have.
mm,
But I find, and it's funny, I used to listen to old people in my life and they would complain about the winter. And I would think, oh my gosh, like, what are, like, my God, they're just old people. Right. But
yeah.
I have
Yes.
become an old
Yes.
lady. And I just, as I get older, I find winter tougher. And
Hmm.
I was listening to Darcy McLaughlin on the radio the other day, and he was saying the same thing.
He's funny.
I remember going around in my little, ballet flats with no socks on all winter and just a little jacket or a little sweater. And now, like, I've got to have the big boots
Oh,
on and the mitts and the
yeah.
scarf, and I'm, wrapped up to my
Same.
eyeballs basically. And I start the car now so that the seats are warm because I can't stand
Yeah.
it. So I've
It's
become
true.
a cranky old lady in my old
No.
age. But I find winter tougher now
Yeah.
than I used to,
It
and
is.
just even getting around is tougher. But
It
as we
is.
kind of get ready for a winter of being in the house, probably because of COVID, it's I'm hoping to get more creative on how I spend my time and keep my mind occupied.
Right. Good plan. Did you have, we were tossing around last week that this week we should maybe give another chance for ourselves to swing our brains around some good answers, and also our viewers for some thought-provoking question. Did you pick out one, Veronique?
I do have a couple for you actually.
Okay.
Um, I'm just looking at my screen here. Okay, so here's one. So, what do you find beautiful in life? Is it rising and setting of the sun? Is it simply the birds or wildlife? What do you find beautiful in life?
I find so much beautiful in life. I really do embrace life. I love life. And I know that everyone says, well, they love to live and they love life, but I truly, truly do love life. So I try to get too many things done though, because I think, how long do you have? And that's not a good thing either. I think it was Gord Downey Jr., Gord Downey, that said, not Junior, Gord Downey that
Yes.
said, he wanted to do so much. And this is before he was stricken with his brain cancer, but he thought, how do I do so much in so little time? And God bless him, did he know that he only had so much time left? Not much to do it in, right? So I try to
Yeah.
think, what do I really, really want to do in the time that I have it? So, but I don't know. I find music beautiful. I absolutely love music, and I could be in the most like downfallen day, and something cheerful will come on the radio, and I will just crank it. I find the ocean, when I can travel, is absolutely the most calming thing in the
Mm,
world. Just to hear the roar of the waves and the birds chirping, and to be on that beach, not even in the sun bathing in it, but just to walk on the beach, feel the warm sand. It's a form of isolation. It's a form of being by yourself. Even on a crowded beach, you're alone in that moment with the sounds of even people around you in the background. I love all that. What about you?
mm. Oh, I love that, Judy. You know what? I'm much like you, to be honest. Music really, really moves my soul. Like, I will cry at different songs that, not necessarily because they're sad, but because they're powerful and so well written and they tell a great story. I find, to be honest, in the last few years, I seem to be chasing sunrises and sunsets. I love
Oh,
taking pictures of sunrises and sunsets. It's such a
nice.
I find some peace in it. And
Yeah.
whenever I can spot one, and listen, I just have my iPhone, so it's not like I have a real powerful
No.
camera or anything. But whenever I can spot one where I just see those colors, you know, painted across the sky,
Yeah.
I have probably 40 or 50 sunrises and sunset pictures that I've taken over the
Beautiful,
last couple of
beautiful.
years. And I find such beauty in that, and such peace.
I do too, actually, and I'll get my sister or people just to send me pictures that they've taken of them because
Hmm.
they're gorgeous. Is what they are. Oh, it's
Yeah,
God's artwork, as far as I'm concerned. Let me see.
absolutely.
I have a different kind of question for you. I guess my question I was thinking about asking is, who do you find yourself, not in the way of family resemblances or people that you know, but who do you sometimes see yourself similar to in real life, as maybe someone that's a public speaker, a political figure, an icon of an individual? Who do you maybe say, you know what, I'm a bit like that person?
Um,
Really?
that's a tough one, to be honest. I
Yeah.
know there are a couple of strong women that I would like to think that I kind of model myself after,
Hmm. Hmm.
or am like. Michelle Obama is one of them.
Yes.
I find her compassionate and strong and educated, and a real sense of purpose and leadership. And I find that
Hmm.
amazing. I find
She is.
she's quite remarkable. And then the other one, and for some reason her name is escaping me right now, but she is the Prime Minister of New Zealand. She's just been reelected, and
Hmm.
she she leads with such compassion and such empathy, and it's kind of given me that feeling that leaders can be that way. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be hard and decisive. You still have to make those decisions, but they can be made with empathy and compassion as well, and with
Right.
thoughts
Right.
for those around you. So yeah, that's, I
Yeah.
guess, those two
That's
women.
good.
Yeah. How about you,
That's
Judy?
beautiful. Actually, I was thinking when I was listening to you that I agree on those two women totally. And but it's really funny with me. I think I would find myself similar in a way to my husband. We
Mm,
are polar opposites in the general sense, but we're both like dogs with a bone. When we get our mind set on something, we're not going to give up on it. I mean, we've had this whole issue, like, and it's been getting heated. I'm not getting into it. Recently with the bullying, and it's not just
mhm.
this most tragic incident that's occurred, but it's an ongoing, worldwide, everywhere problem, with not only children but with adults as well. So I will not give up on it. And
Absolutely.
people would like me to go away maybe and stay in a corner and just zip it because certain people feel that they are being targeted. It's not about being targeted. It is about not letting up on something that you truly stand for, that you are going to be there for that person that you see struggling and not give up. If you're going to do something, you have to do it. You can't just say, I'm going to start an anti-bullying project and let's see what happens. It's not going to happen unless you put the blood, sweat, and tears into it. Like my husband, if he starts something, he is not going to stop until he sees it come through, not fall through,
Yeah,
come through. And he will not take the
absolutely.
fall very nicely if it doesn't. He's just adamant to get things done. And I'm much like that. I will stand
Mhm.
up and I don't care really who doesn't like me or who doesn't really like what I have to say. We're all entitled to our fair opinion. I'm not out to put down anybody, but I do think that the government and I do think people have to up their game in protecting our youth and protecting people inside of their workplace. So if it's administrators, whoever they may be, in huge facilities, corporate facilities, whatever, and they see that that's going on with their employees, for example, don't let it go. And for the people that are in places like hospitals, police forces, wherever they may be, teachers, if they see it's happening amongst their staff, do something about it. Don't just stand there. And if you
Mm.
see a staff being picked on or a kid being picked on, don't be a bystander. And I'm going to, until the day I die, keep fighting against. I'm going to be an anti-bully activist, and that's what I
Mhm.
see is my husband being very much like that as well.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
only have a couple
absolutely.
minutes
Yeah.
left. Any other final little question, Veronique, before we go to our guest?
No, you know what? It's we've got the U.S. election, so we'll hope that
Yeah.
that comes out with the best possible outcome for our
Yes.
neighbors down south and the world in general. And you know what? It's all we can do is pray at this point.
That's right. It's big. It's very big. And for our viewers that are just sitting there saying, "What? Who is our guest going to be today?" It is going to be a very special gentleman from Nova Scotia. That's all I'm going to tell you, because I just realized that that's where he's moved back to all these years ago. And so he's a performer. And I want you to get ready to welcome a very sensational guest. And we're going to go to break right now. Well, welcome back to Have a Chat. If you're just joining us, I'm your host for this week's show, Judy Loge, and I am joined by my beautiful, stunningly lovely Veronique Arsenault. I'm looking right at you, Vero.
I'm gonna have to start paying you more, Judy. My God, thank you. I'm glad to be here as
No,
always with you.
you look great, and we are so happy to bring to our viewers the first time he's ever been on our show, actually, the wonderful Leander Mendoza, singer, songwriter, performing artist, you name it, and a friend of mine. And I'm sure, Veronique, you've met Leander along the way. So welcome to our show, Leander.
Thank you so much for having me, Judy and Veronique. It's my pleasure to be here for the first time. So
Well,
thank you so
I think
much.
it's going to be the viewer's pleasure. Um, so I just
Absolutely.
wanted to ask you, first of all, as we always do, let the people
Hmm.
watching, they want to know all about our guests. So we can't go into great detail until we get moving along. But just in a nutshell, tell us about Leander Mendoza, the boy, the child, the young adult growing up.
Okay. Oh boy, where do I start? Well, I am from the Philippines, from Manila. I was born there, and I'm not gonna say when, but my gray hair already dates me right there. Um,
No.
but I was born to, there were three of us, three boys in the family. I'm the youngest, and we're all musical. Actually, my father always sang around the house. My mom played the piano. Uh, and my aunts on both sides were very musical. They taught me, the all the children's songs, love songs. At a very early age, I was singing serious love songs, and even
Oh.
though I didn't know what I was talking about or singing about, so I was really exposed very early to music. And I am so blessed and lucky to be, to have had that. So,
Yeah. And just before
and
Veronique jumps
yeah,
in, you are now residing in Halifax, Nova Scotia, correct, Leander?
yes, I live in Dartmouth actually, the dark side.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're all on the dark
as they
side now.
say. Yeah.
Okay, Veronique, go right ahead.
So Leander, tell us a little bit about when you started. Like, when did you know that you wanted to sing, or that you could sing, or that you could perform? When did you get involved, and how did you start in your musical journey?
Okay. I've had my first performance when I was in grade one, actually. um,
Wow.
because yeah, I know because I always sang, in the family, when we have reunions. I was known to be, to be the singer of the family, uh, and so at school, I I was just I don't know how exactly I got into singing and performing in the school, but whenever there's events like graduation, whatever, there's an event. Whenever they would put up a stage in the grounds, the school grounds. You can be sure to see me singing. And mind you, back then there was no accompaniment tapes or CDs. There was no. I just sang, held the microphone, and sang my heart out. And I've always loved performing. And then I also took piano lessons. I always wanted to be a pianist, a concert pianist. That's what I really wanted to be. Um,
Mm.
apparently, according to my parents, when I was probably about 8 or 9, I was air piano playing, if that's the right word for it. And
Yeah.
wherever my fingers would land, I would pretend that I was playing the piano. So they figured, oh, maybe he wants to play the piano. So they decided to buy me a piano, and then I started taking piano lessons, and then music just never left me since then. I started playing for the church at the Catholic Church where my parents were involved in. There
Mhm.
was charismatic prayer meetings, and the songs they sang there were very lively, and I was asked to play, and that was my real first uh, training uh, in just playing right there, performing right there and then,
Mm.
and then the singing sort of was put in the back burner until I finished high school, and I decided I'd take up either dentistry or optometry. So I chose optometry
Oh,
because dentistry had some blood involved in it.
yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
said, okay, I can't take the sight of blood, so I'll go for optometry. And of
Uh-huh.
course, both things were not really my passion. They were sort of suggested to me by my aunts and uncles because a lot of my relatives are either dentists or optometrists.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I really wanted music, and I decided after one semester in optometry, I decided to drop out and follow my real passion, which was music. So I entered the Conservatory of Music in uh, the oldest university in the Philippines. They say we brag about it because it's older than Harvard University. So, uh,
Oh.
and so yeah, I took music for 7 years. Longer than expected, but it's very common to, if you're in music, you sort of lag behind because of you got to be really prepared to have a graduation recital, which I never had the chance to do because at that point, I was already going to Canada. My mother's application for immigrant status was already approved in 1995, and so
Hmm.
I didn't get to perform my graduation, but I actually, met a lot of people, prominent people in Toronto that I was able to perform, and that was a blessing for me that I was able to perform when I didn't I couldn't imagine myself performing, since Canada's a big country and let alone Toronto, like what am I gonna do as a performer? But I really met the right people at the right time. I had a great voice teacher, Eleanor Calbis, and she groomed me and she showed me the ropes and
Hmm.
you know, and that was the beginning of being a
A
performer in
performer. A
Canada.
performer.
Yeah, and also a teacher. So I started teaching
Yeah.
voice and piano. And yeah, and I,
So,
like I said,
Leander, I'm
music
just
never
gonna.
really left me.
You're Yeah, you're very good on camera. Like we don't have to interrupt you to speak. You're just fluid here. You're giving us a really lovely journey through your childhood onward,
Sorry.
and so it's easy for us as hosts when we have a guest like you because it flows very nicely, one thing into
Oh,
the other
thank
without
you.
interruption. But I just wanted to ask you, I'm curious. I don't have any musical inability or ability myself. I mean, I've been trained through plays to carry a note, but and I'm sure like so you had great vocal teaching on the way up. But do
Hmm.
you think that I'm teachable as such? I mean, I know that you learn how to hold your notes, you learn how to take lessons, but do you think there's ever really a true talent, or do you think it's an innate gift that you're given? at birth, that you're able to one day be a musician and sing and play and all of that? I know what you're taught, but do you think there's also an element of giftedness from the beginning?
Yes, for sure. Like anybody can be taught. Um,
Oh,
but I mean, anybody can be taught to sing or play an instrument. Uh,
oh,
when it comes to reading music, you can still learn to read music and play an instrument, sing. Now,
you can sing.
but yeah,
Okay.
but like you said, there are people who do have the X factor in them that uh,
Yeah.
they're just more musical, more sensitive artistically.
Right.
So when they
Mm,
sing, you hear that it factor, that, oh wow, that the talent, that it's really not teachable. You can't really teach talent. It's just there. But what you
right.
can teach, or what you can learn as a student, anybody can learn. Anybody can be taught. Now, as
Yeah.
a
Yes.
teacher myself, uh, I have a disclaimer about that, because you can only teach. There are realities that some people do have a disability to hear pitch, and it's kind of like people who have trouble recognizing color, distinguishing color, and from
Hmm.
red to blue, and it's something clinical. For me, my opinion about people who can't distinguish pitch, it's the same. It's clinical, um, but you can teach to a certain level for them to listen. It's really about listening and training your ears. There's also the factor of rhythm, following rhythm, feeling the beat of a music, and there are some people, or a few people, who aren't able to feel the beat, or but if the question is, can anybody sing?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, we all sing in
Yeah.
the
Well, no, it was
washroom
just
or
like
whatever.
I admire those opera singers, for example, the oh, I mean that would shatter your teacup. So that's where I was kind of
Right.
thinking, can you ever teach that level of incredibleness, I guess is the word. Yeah.
You
No,
can, like,
probably
you
not.
can teach any
Oh.
style. You can teach. I actually teach opera. That's what I teach. The foundation of good
Oh,
singing is classical singing, operatic singing. From there, you can branch out if you wanted to. But yeah,
okay.
I do have,
Okay.
and have had students who have never sung before, and now they're singing classical opera songs. So yeah, anybody can be
Wow.
taught, as long
There
as
you
you're
go,
teachable
Veronique.
and you have the ears.
There you
Yeah.
go,
I
Vero.
we talk about this all the time on the show. They don't let me sing because I can't sing. Although I have
Oh,
this
you don't know that.
wonderful, oh, I have this total, down to my toes desire to be able to sing. I wish I could. But no, it's not good. It's not good at all.
So what
No,
other
I'm not.
question do you have for this gentleman here?
So Leander, when you perform, you perform in one genre of music. What's your favorite, and what led you to perform in that genre?
Oh my, I love performing the classical genre. Of course, that was my training, but not just because I was trained classically, but the classical songs. They don't write music like that anymore. Uh, they they last. They stay for a specific reason, because the value of that music is, they're timeless. Classic music is timeless.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
there's depth to the music. Um, Now, I'm gonna sound really old when I say that I'm not a listener of pop music anymore. I used to be when I was younger. My pop music, my generation's pop
Yeah.
music. But unfortunately, the music nowadays, for me, just for me, it doesn't really capture me. It doesn't captivate me, and
Hmm.
so I find it hard to. Mind you, there are few songs out there that are really nicely written, and artistically done. But personally, I love singing, the Mario Lanza repertoire, like "Be My Love," the
Mhm.
movie theme songs, But I do sing in every type of genre except hard rock and
Oh,
metal.
who?
And yeah, I do I do explore other styles of music. As a performer, I always believe that you need to be prepared and be flexible with what you do, and
Mhm.
that makes you a more a
Rounded.
well-rounded musician.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, as a young boy, and I guess from your early days, as you said, as a little child, right up to now, who were some of the artists that you emulated and actually, were inspired by?
Okay, there are many Filipino artists that I was inspired by, um,
Hmm.
but there's Nat King Cole, there's of course Frank
Yeah.
Sinatra, and there's Mario Lanza. Um, I know the oldies, right? The
So do I. So do I. I
but
definitely
but
do.
but but there's also oh my gosh, um, Bublé, Michael
I
Oh,
was
Bublé.
Michael
just going to
Bublé. Yes, yes,
say,
yes.
I
yes, I
sing a lot
see
of
you and
Michael
he.
Bublé.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
Michael Bublé. And I see you
I
when
mean,
I
there's a
see
lot
you.
of.
You remind me. Yeah.
Now, this is funny because just 2 weeks ago, when I was in Toronto, I couldn't go anywhere much, and I was on YouTube. I actually discovered for myself, although a late bloomer, the British artist Robbie Williams and his music.
Yes.
Mm.
I'm like, where have
Hmm.
I been hiding, and why haven't I heard this music before? And now
Oh,
I'm kind of
beautiful.
obsessing about his music. So
Yeah. You
yeah,
go
I
through
mean,
different times in your life. Hmm.
yes,
Yeah.
my style, my taste in music evolve as music is evolving continuously. But I tend to, as an older musician now, a teacher and a performer, I tend to choose what strikes me or attracts me or captivates me or what really speaks to my heart and my soul. So,
Mm.
you know,
Hmm. And we do have to go to break very soon. But I just want to say for those that are just tuning in, not to go too far, because after we get back from break, we're going to talk to you a bit more, Leander, about your musical career and all of your accomplishments, which are so, so many. But we're going to elaborate on that, you and I and Veronique, after the break. But I just want to say that I don't want to let anyone miss out on it because when we return, after a while, we're going to get you to perform a very special song written for a very
mhm.
special love of your life. And so
Yes.
I don't want anyone to not hear your voice. I've been a follower of yours for a long, long time, and I know my
Oh.
parents, especially my mom, who has been to more concerts, adores you. And I know that you have a
Aw.
Miramichi base. You have followers. So for anyone that's listening from all across the province, come back very, very soon. Grab that little whatever you need to refresh yourself and join Leander and Veronique and I for more Have a Chat just very soon. Welcome back to Have a Chat. Again, I'm your host today, Judy Loge, joined by my beautiful co-host, Veronique Arsenault. And of course, we are here with the one and only Leander Mendoza, singer, songwriter, performing artist, and all around a beautiful person. So welcome back. And to the viewers, thank you for joining us again. We're just going to play some catch up on some of your musical background information, Leander. And we were talking about playing for people, performing, but we didn't get into the specifics of the concert scene. How you prepare for that, what you anticipate. Sometimes I know as a performer in theater that you get your quiet crowds, your unspontaneous crowds, or you get the really warm, energetic, feeling crowd. So, talk
Mhm.
to us a little bit about your experiences and where you've traveled with these concerts.
Okay, great question. Well, like I said before, I learned earlier on that I loved performing, and so to this day, I love performing to a live audience. And of course, there's many different kinds of audience or the energy that that you get from an audience. I do personally, I I sometimes get affected by either the low energy or, but then I have to remind myself that the performance has to be up and up, whatever the audience energy may be. It's about the performance and what I give to the audience. So, but
Yeah.
sorry, what was the second part of the
No, that's it.
question?
You've got to keep going regardless of the mood, right? Like if they're a flat
Yes,
audience, which I've experienced, you've got to still give it all your 100% because it's not that. It's not about you. It's about
exactly,
them. Right. Right.
exactly,
And
and
so,
I've
and I
had
guess, yeah, go ahead.
no, I've had performances where there would be people who are complaining about uh, some of the songs and I'm talking about some of the retirement homes that I sing at. Well, but I understand that uh, they know their music. You can't fool them when you say, "Oh, I'm singing you know whatever song," and then they really demand for quality performance, and so that's good for me because it reminds you that, hey, it doesn't matter who you're performing to, you gotta give your best.
Yeah.
So
Right, right. No, I've been to your concerts. I've been on the receiving end of a delightful performance at more than one occasion. I've actually emceed, had the honor of emceeing one of your concerts
yes,
at least once or twice. And oh, you stole my
yeah,
heart. I mean, you come out and you're full on. It's not just your musical ability that gives a good quality performance and make people come back. It's your energy and your personality. Personality counts for so much on stage. It's that presence that makes the wow factor, right? You
yeah.
could be the most beautiful singer in the entire world, but if you have a very flat personality, it's not going to come off the same way it should, right?
That's true. Now, I should say I didn't have that personality on stage before. I had to learn that. I had to really be subjected to good training on stage. I had I had performed in Toronto a lot of musical theater, and that really trained me. I also performed in Florida for some time, and for a very knowledgeable audience, I should say.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
they've seen everything. That's what I'm saying. They've seen everything. Every show there is out there, they've seen it. So you've got to perform your best, and you really have to
Right.
talk to them. You really have to connect with them, and that's what I've learned. So
Yeah, and you do that. Vero?
it's part of my learning experience as a performer, especially as a classical and operatic classically trained musician. As an opera singer, you just stand up and sing and do a recital, but you can't always just be like that. You have to connect to your audience and talk, not just sing. You
Hmm.
can have, like you said, you can have the most beautiful voice, but if you don't connect with the audience, uh, it's gonna be a flat performance.
Hmm.
So,
Veronique.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been fortunate enough to see you perform on three different occasions, and so
oh,
I love your stage presence and your performing ability. But
thank you.
I'm sure this year has been tough as far as performances with COVID and everything. How have you managed? How have you coped with it all, and what changes has that brought for your schedule?
Oh boy. It's like, I speak not only for myself, but a lot of the performers out there that who have been affected by COVID. Uh, when 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 the news came up with, especially choir singing, you can't group singing, you can't sing anymore because it's the one of the what do you call it, the higher risks of transferring the
Mm-hmm.
virus.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it was a huge blow for a lot of artists and performers because it just kills everything. It just killed everything for us. Our gigs were canceled. My performances. I had a lot of booking with, the retirement homes, and it's a big part of my income, and also the church
Exactly.
performers,
Yeah.
and then the concerts. You know, uh, it just stopped everything um, in its tracks. So, but fortunately, um, recently things have been getting better, especially here in Nova Scotia. We've been doing great with controlling COVID. We have very, very low number of cases, and so that allowed us to somewhat restart and resume performing. This past summer during the COVID, I didn't perform indoors. I had to perform at parking lots, set up my keyboard, set up my
Wow.
amplifiers, and the residents would, if they can come out, if they can be wheeled out of the building, they could congregate and listen. It was very tricky. Uh, for my church job as a soloist, um, we had to record hymns, at a on a certain day of the week to be played on streaming on Sunday. So those changes, we had to go through a lot of changes, and now we're back in choir. And even though we're back in choir, we still have to wear singing masks. And
Yeah.
but the good thing is we adjust to the new normal.
Mm.
We have no choice,
So
right? We all have to
we
keep
have no
going with
choice.
this, and we have to make the bright side of it. And I know your personality, and I know I'm my own, and I know Veronique's. We're the best types of personalities, really, to quite deal with this. We all have our down days, but thankfully, we're
Hmm.
we're blessed with that other side of like 90% of a really positive attitude. And it breaks for those days when you're
Hmm.
when you're pulling on the strength you need to get through the rest of the other, have the rest of it. But so
That's right.
I just want to let the viewers know that actually Leander is recently deceased by his husband. I guess, is that the right word to say? You lost your precious husband. Um, it's
Yes,
how long
last
ago
year.
now, Leander? How long?
It was
Oh,
May 10th of last year, 2019.
okay. So it'll be coming up 2021. It'll be 2 years. And we know it's such
Yes.
an incredible loss in your life, as it is to anyone watching that's lost a loved one. Actually, your husband, that's gone now, was my boss for some time. And I put him to the test, let me
Wow.
tell you. And then you put him to the test. So me at work and you at home. But
Yeah.
I know that there'd be nothing quite more sad to go through, and you lost your father as well. Um, so I
Yeah,
just
to
want to put it
COVID.
out there that knowing you for so long as a friend and as a musician, that you were utterly heartbroken, which is so normal. But then you live alone and no children, but two beautiful dogs. Did you find, before we go to your song that you wrote for Lauren, did you find
Mhm.
music really helped you cope, or did it make you too sad to write for a while?
Oh, it helped me a lot to cope for sure. Um, I don't write music a lot or too often, but if I do, there is a good reason for doing so, and that's when I'm getting emotional now. But that's when my emotions and my heart just flows through the music.
Yeah.
So writing this song, and I actually wrote two songs after he passed, and one was a happier song about him growing up in Miramichi himself,
Yeah.
and yeah, but this was the first one that I wrote, which was an outpouring of what I was feeling at that point, and just every word in this song was all about that, missing
Yeah.
him and wishing, yeah,
Did it take you a long time to put this penning to
song.
voice? Did you? No.
Oh,
Did it take you a long
it's
time to put the
funny.
pen to the? Yeah, yeah.
No, actually, it only took maybe an hour. Yeah, to
Oh,
put everything together. When I write both at the same time, words and music. So,
wow.
um, yeah. So I mean, that's how much of the that emotion was trying to come through out of me,
Yeah.
and what I really wanted to tell him. Um, so yeah.
And what did you decide to call your song, Leander? What's the name of this beautiful piece of music you're leaving in honor of Lauren?
It's called "If I Had One Wish,"
If I Had
Hmm.
One Wish, and
because
it's your own creation, your
it's my
totally
own
own
creation.
made up song, an original
Yes,
by Leander
an
Mendoza. Do
original.
you have to, before you go play the song, do you have to find that like real quiet space before you write, or do you just write some night you're going to bed, this thought comes into your head, or do you have to go somewhere where there's water beside you, or an atmosphere?
No, when I
No.
have the idea, I sit at the piano and just start writing, and what comes through, I put down on paper, and then the music comes next. So
Well, we're going to hear that
it
right now. If you would please hit those beautiful ivories for us with your gorgeous voice. We're going to be strong for you and feel our love and
all right.
support as you play this. It's not easy, but feel how proud he'd be, and that will get you feeling strong. You're doing a beautiful job here.
Thank you so much, Judy. I'm gonna have to take off my earphones. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ever since the day you left, I've cried myself to sleep. It's hard to be alone without you by my side. Nothing seems to matter, nothing seems to fit. Everywhere I look reminds me memories of the past. But if I had one wish, I'd wish for the day that I met you. If I had a chance to go back in time, I'd go back to the time I first held you. And if there's one thing that I could do to hear your voice once again, I won't be alone, I'd cry no more, I'd be whole again. If I had one wish. When I was a child, they said to wish upon a star, and all my heart's desire will one day soon come true. But wishes are for children, and time has passed me by. All I have is your love and memories that will last. If I had one wish, I'd wish for the day that I met you. If I had a chance to go back in time, I'd go back to the time I first held you. And if there's one thing that I could do to hear your voice once again, I won't be alone, I'd cry no more, I'd be whole again. If I had one wish upon a star, wish you could be won't be alone. I'd cry no more. I'd be whole again. I won't be alone. I'd cry no more. I'd be whole again. If I had one wish. If I had one wish.
That was the whole. Can we have the happy one now? I'm just joking. We need the happy
Sorry?
one now. I'm a mess. No,
Oh!
I am crying, and so I know Veronique and our viewers are probably too. It was out of this world.
It was
Oh, thank you
beautiful,
so much.
beautiful.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
I mean, yeah,
It took a lot of
I've
strength
only
not to get emotional up here.
no. We took all the emotions for you here, Leander. I'm wearing it all on my sleeve here, actually. And I was watching Veronique trying to mend her eyes too, because you come from such a place in the heart, and like you said, when you wrote it, you poured it all
Mm,
into your whole being, and it's felt. And that's what good performing is giving it all, so that it's so believable that what you're really feeling
thank you.
is so it's so evident in that song, and the melody is so pretty. It wasn't it, Veronique? The
Beautiful.
Thank
whole
you so
thing just
much.
came together as one gorgeous piece of music, and we thank you for giving that stellar performance, Leander. Oh, who's
Thank you,
this
and
you
thank
have
you for
on?
giving. Oh, this is Minnie, our baby girl. Minnie. She just had a
Oh, you
Oh,
have two.
birthday. Yeah, she's 11 years old, and she comes to me when she
oh,
feels that I'm getting emotional. She's always
Oh, no, you're
very
kidding.
thoughtful. Like, yeah, she comes to me and then she licks my tears.
no.
She was just
That's
checking
precious,
me out.
Veronique.
If
Don't you
yeah,
think? You have dogs. I have
yeah,
dogs. They just know, don't they?
Oh,
we
absolutely.
do.
And you know what? It's
Yeah,
the love of your fur babies is unconditional, and you know what? Thank
that's
goodness
true.
we have them. Thank goodness we have them.
Yes,
That's
yeah,
what I
for
always
sure.
say. Yeah. No matter what kind of a day you're having, it just I don't know if we're getting almost at a time yet, or we're almost ready to wrap up. So okay, we're gonna have to say goodbye and thank you, and sorry to rush everyone away, but we want more of him.
Thank
Everyone
you.
have a wonderful week. Thank you, Leander. Thank you, Veronique, and all our viewers.
Thank you so
Goodbye.
much. Thank you, Judy and
Thank
Veronique.
you.